Hi there, this is David and welcome to the Top 10 Best Villains Part 1. Here, we're going to be looking at those great antagonists that either make you laugh or cry, and many times, do both. There's nothing I like more than a well-written antagonist with clear motivations and a captivating personality to go along with it. What I don't like is big baddies being bad just for the sake of their badness. So, let's get started going through some of the games of the past and highlighting those fantastic villains. Number 10. Mio, Nana, and Saki of Grandia.
Oh, Mio, you're too kind. If it were me, I'd give him 5,000 lashes. Then I'd pickle him in brine and give him 100 days in the brig.
That will kill him. If Herr Mullen were to get wind of that, he'd have your head.
No problem. I just swear him to secrecy, and Herr Mullen would never be the wiser.
These are also known as the three cuntateers. These three bitches are out to make Justin and Sue's life a living hell from the get-go. Not to mention their poor soldiers. Each of them is trying to one-up the other to gain the affections of Herr Mullen, and in turn, take Lieutenant Lean's place. I think what I find so appealing about them is that they're real people with real motivations and true reasons for doing what they are. You even get to see a small spark of their humanity towards the end of their game when Gaia is unleashed upon the world and they put down their arms and implore Justin to escape with his life. Number 9. Venus of Final Fantasy Legend II. There are many gods and villains scattered throughout the multiple worlds of Final Fantasy Legend II, and while most of them are memorable, no one made quite the impression on me as Venus did with her world of beauty. When you first meet her, she seems pretty benevolent, but you soon learn of her warped worldviews after meeting Flara, who's put into arranged marriage with Nils because the man that she's truly in love with, Leon, has been banished from the city. After getting to the bottom of the situation, Leon barges into the wedding, attacks Venus, and Flora bravely cuts her own face with a knife so that she's scarred and that she can't live in the city any longer either. At this point, we've all had enough, and the party takes back their magi and slays yet another god. Number 8. Algus of Final Fantasy Tactics. This little shit. When he first joins up, you'd think that he's going to become a permanent party member, only for this white bread bitch to show his true colors as he attempts to use Ramsa for his power and influence and continually degrade Delita just because of his upbringing. Within the course of roughly 10 battles, the rat bastard goes from, okay, maybe I can deal with him, to, what the hell, kid, to, oh my god, he just betrayed me, and then culminating in, that fucking little piece of shit just killed Teta for no other reason besides jealousy, and then he had the gall to say that she deserved it, and's only born to serve the nobility? Every time I play the game, I go through quite the range of emotions with Algus. But it always ends with me happy as a lark whenever I beat this bitch into the ground. Number 7. Galleon of Lunar Silver Star Story Complete.
Not Galleon, dear Quark. Magic Emperor Galleon!
Magic Emperor?
Galleon, no!
No. Galleon, yes! Someday people may mourn this day, but my glorious rule can only begin with your enslavement.
I like this guy, and I like the story in Lunar. After all, it's my favorite game for the PlayStation. But from the second that I met Galleon in Vane, I knew that the guy was evil to the core. I guess you're not supposed to know because he's touted as one of the 4 great heroes, but man, that voice actor just gave it away. But anyway, let's talk about why I love him. It's because Alex and the gang trust him, so Galleon's able to stay one step ahead of them, manipulating Nash and kidnapping Luna as he tries to achieve his goals. It's a nice touch that he returns again in Lunar Eternal Blue, and is one of the most satisfying and emotional conclusions in the genre. Number 6. Luca Blight of Suikoden 2. The Black Prince Luca Blight is set up to be the main antagonist of Suikoden 2, but interestingly, you kill him about halfway through, though his legacy still lives on after him. He's easily one of the most sadistic and cruel villains in gaming, destroying innocent villages indiscriminately, slaughtering oinking pigs, terrorizing annoying little girls, and even going so far as to kill his own father in his quest for absolute power. When you finally do confront him, he is just a force of nature. Just to kill one man, you have to split up your party into 3 teams, each tag-teaming him to give him no quarter. Then you have to finish him off with a hail of arrows. The man is just ferocious, ruthless, and cunning. It's a shame that poor Joey ended up following in his footsteps. Number 5. Fulu of Breath of Fire 4. I love how the developers really went the extra mile with Fulu here. They could have just had you meet up with him at the end of the game, and then he would reveal his huge evil plan with the plot twist that you are both parts of the same whole. But that's not how they went about it. Ryu and Fulu are yin and yang, 2 sides of the same coin, because they're both twin incarnations of the god Yorei. All throughout the game, you will control Fulu as he awakens, slaughters, and runs from the Empire, and then hides away in a small farming village. There's glimpses of kindness and even sparks of love beginning to blossom, before it's all burned away and he loses all hope in humanity. More games need to explore the villain in the way that this game did. It was fantastic. Number 4. Kefka of Final Fantasy VI. Well, Golbez and his severed hand really freaked me out as a kid. Kefka just topped him in every way possible 2 short years later. As one of the Empire's top generals, he was the first to get inoculated with the powers of the Espers, and in the course of the experimentation, it turned him a bit crazy. The first time meeting him in Figaro, burning the castle and just laughing about it, set the stage for everything else to come. The poisoning of Doma, the showdown at the Magitech research facility, and culminating with him actually succeeding in his evil plot and destroying the world by manipulating the goddess statues. It's one thing for a villain to be evil and crazy, but it's a whole other ballgame when they actually complete their plan and evolve into a god on Earth, raining terror down on all the towns around him in the world of ruin. Number 3. Aram of the entire Lufia series. Massive spoilers here, but if you've gone this far, you've been spoiled already. Aram is a Sinistral of Death, and arguably the most important of the 4, because she can revive the rest of them. Her penchant for revival is a double-edged sword, though, as she reincarnates throughout the series, first as Lufia, the hero's best friend and resident mage during the entirety of the first game, then as Iris, Max's mysterious helper and savior in the second game, and then even as Sina, Wayne's love interest in the third. I can't help but feel bad for Aram, though. It's as if the other Sinistrals use her to continually revive every 100 years, while she herself is conflicted about the immortal side. At the end of The Legend Returns, though, she permanently casts off her Sinistral side to become a real human and live side by side with Wayne. Number 2. Sephiroth of Final Fantasy VII. I would imagine that finding out that your existence is just the result of an experiment would make anybody a tad bit upset. It's really no wonder that he has mommy issues. It's just unfortunate that he wants everybody else to pay for it because he's an offspring of an alien being. He goes on to corrupt the Lifestream, torture and maim Cloud, burn Nibelheim to the ground, attempt murder on Tifa, and actually kill Arius. Basically, he wants the party to lose all hope after he kills the one person who could right all of his wrongs, especially after he sets Meteor on a collision course with the planet. All his heinous actions were a critical component to his fame. Every time I saw him, he put chills down my spine and elicited a hatred for a character delights that I'd never had before. Yet, he was so well written that even at the end, I still kind of felt bad for him. And finally, number 1, Edna of Wild Arms XF.
One and only reason you aren't dead and buried is me! Whether I let you live, or kill you now, or keep you as my trump card, you live or die at my whim. Never forget that! As long as you're in my possession, you're nothing more than a card for me to play. Mocking me with her little speeches. That little chit. If she wasn't my trump card, I'd wring her neck until her eyes popped out.
I want to be Edna when I grow up. This absolute bitch is downright hysterical from the second that you first meet her all the way up to the bitter end. While most of the rest of the characters were just about as exciting as watching paint dry, Edna was the reason to continue on. She's psychotic, greedy, condescending, and cowardly, but she steals every single scene that she's in with her ridiculous monologues. They are delivered spot on by probably the best voice actress that I've ever heard. Watching her ridiculous antics between all the battles is without a doubt the single best reason to play this off-kilter, wacky strategy RPG. She basically says and does what I want to say and do to all these stupid, doe-eyed protagonists and captured Mary Sues which plague JRPGs like this. It's kind of like watching a soap opera, where Edna just goes from room to room, following the other villains around in the shadows, only to blackmail, berate, humiliate, and bitch slap them on every occasion that she possibly can. Well, that's it for the top 10 best villains part 1. Please look forward to part 2, and if you'd like to see some more rankings, I've plenty listed in the video description. Do you agree or disagree? Let me know in the comments, and if you like this, please like, comment, and subscribe, and have a good day.
What's happening out there? Who would interfere with the heroine of the story?